God is watching what you do in this moment. There will come a day when you look back at this moment and you will ask yourself one question. Did I give everything I had? Not almost everything. Not when it was comfortable. Not when people were watching. Everything. Every single day. In the quiet. In the dark. When no one else was in the room. Because that is where character is built. Not on the stage. Not in the spotlight. But in the moments nobody sees. Except God. God sees every single one. And I want you to sit with that for a moment. Every sacrifice you made that went unnoticed. Every time you chose to keep going when everything in you wanted to stop. He saw that. He recorded that. None of it was wasted. Because the version of you that God designed you to become is the only version that was ever real. Everything else was just noise. Everything else was just fear dressed up in a reasonable excuse. You told yourself you weren't ready. You told yourself the timing was wrong. You told yourself, maybe next year, maybe when the kids are older, maybe when I have more money, maybe when I feel more confident. But God never told you to wait until you felt ready. He told you to walk and trust that the path would appear. That is what faith looks like. Not certainty, not comfort. Faith looks like moving when you cannot see the next step. And you have done that before. Think about it. You have walked through things that should have broken you. Things that broke other people. Things you never saw coming. Losses you didn't know how to carry. Seasons so dark you forgot what the light even felt like. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still reaching. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. That is the hand of God holding you together when you had nothing left to hold on with. You didn't survive everything you survived to play small. God didn't carry you through the storm just to watch you drown at the shore. He brought you here with purpose. He brought you here with intention. There is something on your life that the enemy has been trying to silence for a very long time. And every time you shrink back, every time you dim your light, every time you say, I'm not good enough for this, you are agreeing with the wrong voice. Stop listening to the voice that tells you who you are not. Start listening to the one that tells you who you are made to be. Because God did not make you ordinary. He made you with precision. He made you with detail. He made you with intention. Your struggle is not random. Your story is not an accident. The very thing you have been through is the very thing someone else desperately needs to hear. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are exactly where the story needed you to be for what comes next. Stop waiting for permission. Nobody is coming to give it to you. But God has already gone ahead of you. He has already prepared the room. He has already moved the obstacle you haven't even reached yet. The door was never locked. You just stopped reaching for it. So reach. Right now. Today. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not when you feel more prepared. Today. In the middle of the mess. In the middle of the uncertainty. In the middle of the fear. Because discipline is not about feeling ready. Discipline is about showing up when every part of you is telling you to sit down. And I know you're tired. I know the weight has been heavy. I know there are days when you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person looking back. Days when the dream feels further away than it did a year ago. Days when you wonder if God even remembers your name. He does. He knows your name. He knows your tears. He knows the prayers you whispered at 2 a.m. when the room was dark and you had nothing left but your voice. He heard every single one. And He is not slow. He is not distant. He is working in the waiting. He is building something in the silence that would not be possible if He had answered sooner. Trust the process, not because it is easy, but because the one who holds the process has never once failed you. Look back at your life. Every valley that felt like the end became the very ground where something new began to grow. Every closed door was protecting you from a room you were never supposed to enter. Every delay was a redirect. Every breakdown was a preparation. Every scar is a reminder that you healed. And you will heal again. And you will rise again. Because that is who you are. That is what God placed inside of you. A resilience that cannot be manufactured. A strength that was forged in the hardest seasons of your life. A faith that grew not in the easy moments, but in the ones that almost destroyed you. That faith is your weapon. Use it. Because the world doesn't need a quieter version of you. It needs the full weight of who God actually made you to be. Not the version that shrinks to make others comfortable. Not the version that apologizes for taking up space. The version that walks in the room and knows who they are. The version that has been through the fire and came out with something that cannot be taken away. And I need you to understand something. The people who changed the world were not the ones who had it easy. They were the ones who kept going when the evidence said stop. They were the ones who prayed when the situation said panic. They were the ones who believed when everything around them said give up. That could be you. That is supposed to be you. But you have to make a decision. Not a one-time decision, a daily decision. Every single morning when your feet hit the floor, you decide who you are going to be today. You decide whether fear wins or faith wins. And those two things cannot occupy the same space. One will always grow stronger depending on which one you feed. So what are you feeding? What are you speaking over your life when no one else can hear you? Because your words have weight. Your thoughts have direction. The things you tell yourself in the quiet moments become the ceiling or the sky of everything you will ever reach. Speak life, even when life doesn't look like it yet. Speak victory, even when the battle is still going. Speak abundance, even when the account is empty. That is not denial. That is declaration. There is a difference. Denial says the problem isn't real. Declaration says the problem does not have the final word. And God has already spoken the final word over your life. Before you were born, before you made your first mistake, before you ever doubted yourself. He already called you chosen. He already called you worthy. He already called you more than enough. The question is not whether God believes in you. The question is whether you believe what God already said. Do you believe it? Not just on Sunday morning, not just when things are going well. In the middle of the night, in the middle of the struggle, in the middle of the season where nothing makes sense. Do you still believe that God is good? Do you still believe that He is working on your behalf? Because that belief is the most powerful thing you will ever carry. More powerful than talent, more powerful than money, more powerful than any connection or opportunity this world could offer. A person who truly believes that God is for them cannot be stopped, cannot be silenced, cannot be held down. Not permanently. They may bend, but they will not break. And that is you. That has always been you. It needs the full weight of who God actually made you to be. And deep down, you already know that. He placed that fire in you for a reason. Don't let it die in silence. The world is waiting. Your purpose is waiting. God is waiting. Not for you to be perfect. Not for you to have it all figured out. Just for you to take one step. Then another. Then another. So act like it. God is still writing your story. And the best chapter has not been written yet.